You're listening to Rebel Spirituality with me, Sam Goldfinch. Here's the truth. Wisdom doesn't follow rules. So each week we're going to explore what it means to wake up your way so you can live a more peaceful, creative and inspired life no matter your circumstances. It's time to blaze your unique path to truth. Hey my rebel friends. Right, so this week we are hanging out with the question, how much of our thinking is actually helpful? And I think it's just a good question to hang out with, because I reckon if I were to hazard a guess, and for most of us, I reckon this is true, 97, 98, maybe even 99% of our thinking just isn't even helpful. It's just the machinations of the mind. It's just a bunch of noise that the mind creates that we can get caught up in. And there's something very powerful about just realizing that we don't have to do that. I was sharing with a group earlier today. I said, the thing is, we have a thought, we have a stressful thought or an insecure thought or a ruminating thought or a thought of the future or the past or a whole story or whatever it might be. And it's sort of like this thought, I think I should hang out with this thought. I should take this thought out for dinner. I should spend the night with this thought. And then we go for a walk the next morning. And before we know it, we're married to the thought and the thought's having thought babies. And I honestly think if we to step back and to discern how much of our thoughts are actually helpful, are actually getting us somewhere or purchasing us something in the world of value, it's very few. It's very few. And being able to be mindful of this is a really powerful, I was going to use the word skill, but I'm not really sure what the right word is, but it's a very powerful insight to realize that most of our thinking isn't helpful. And if a thought is helpful, like I certainly don't want to give up the power of thoughts moving through me. Like they're incredibly valuable. It doesn't look like it's a mistake, but I think we give them all sorts of powers. We ascribe them powers that they don't really have. We think that they're causative, as in they're the thing that are running our lives and all of that kind of stuff. But I don't for a second want to suggest that there aren't certain thoughts to listen to. So maybe we have an insight and there's a linguistic element that kind of says, why not try that? Why not do this? Why not? That seems like really valuable to tune into those. But becoming more and more aware of the thoughts that are genuinely helpful and the thoughts that are even working against us, I think it's just a powerful direction to look in. And I notice I talk a lot on this podcast about coming to understand the safety of our psychological experience, of coming to understand that emotions and feelings and sensations are energies and they're not out to get us. And I think people often from their current kind of way of seeing things, they think, oh man, maybe things are a bit tough right now. If I open up to the safety of this experience, does it not just mean I'm going to be feeling all these things all the time that don't feel so good? And it's not like that. The more we open up to the safety of our experience, the more we start to realize that this energy that's here, what is here before the words is safe. We may label it uncomfortable from time to time, but prior even to that labeling is a freedom, is an embodied experience of just what's here in this moment. And that becomes, it kind of interacts with these insights that we have into the nature of the mind and into the nature of what's going on, like that we're thinking a lot, that the mind is judging and comparing and throwing up ideas and thoughts a lot of the time. But we don't have to take them out for dinner. We don't have to marry them. And if we realize that we can break up, we can divorce them. It's just a recognition of that's not helpful. Like I don't have to listen to that thought. And maybe it will hang around for a bit. Maybe it shows up a bit. But the difference, that doesn't matter. It's the relationship to it that's the biggest thing. And for me these days, I just don't take half of my thinking, more than that, anything like as seriously as I used to, unless I do. And then my system will soon tell me, because we feel the thought like that we connect to or that we identify with, the system will soon let me know. Like if I identify with an insecure thought, I'll feel insecure. And it becomes like a wake up. It's an alarm bell letting me know what I've identified with. So here's the question for this week to just kind of sit with is, how much of the thinking that you have is actually helpful? Maybe you're in the middle of a situation and your mind is ruminating or worrying or whatever it might be. Can you just step back for a minute and recognize that it's not really helping you or purchasing you anything in the world to be in that. And if there are things to do them, take action, and then just notice what the mind is up to. And just, you don't have to feed it. You don't have to go in there. You don't have to identify with that stuff or believe in it. And the first step to taking that step back, to realizing that, is genuinely recognizing that most of the stuff that the mind comes up with isn't helpful. I hope you have a beautiful day, week, all that good stuff. I'll see you soon.